Convention on Biological Diversity, CBD, 1992-1. Introduction. The Convention on Biological Diversity, CBD, is an international treaty aimed at promoting the conservation of biodiversity, the sustainable use of biological resources, and the equitable sharing of benefits arising from the utilization of genetic resources. Adopted during the Rio Summit, Earth Summit, in 1992, the CBD marked a pivotal moment in global efforts to protect biodiversity, acknowledging the integral role that biological diversity plays in human life, health, and economic well-being. With over 190 parties, it remains one of the most widely ratified international treaties in the world. The CBD acknowledges biodiversity in its broadest sense, covering the full range of life on Earth, from genes and species to ecosystems and landscapes. Its three main objectives are conservation of biodiversity, to preserve the variety of life on Earth, including species, ecosystems, and genetic diversity. Sustainable use of biodiversity, to ensure that biological resources are used in a way that meets the needs of present and future generations. Fair and equitable sharing of benefits arising from genetic resources, to ensure that the benefits derived from genetic resources, such as those used in pharmaceuticals, agriculture, and biotechnology, are shared fairly with the countries and communities that provide them. 2. Objectives of the Convention on Biological Diversity. The CBD is structured around three core objectives that collectively guide global efforts to conserve biodiversity. Conservation of biological diversity. This objective focuses on protecting the full spectrum of biodiversity, from species and ecosystems to genetic resources. It emphasizes the importance of preserving habitats, restoring ecosystems, and protecting endangered species. Sustainable use of the components of biological diversity. Sustainable use refers to utilizing biodiversity in a manner that does not lead to its depletion or degradation. This principle applies to natural resources like forests, fisheries, and wildlife and requires the development of sustainable management practices. Fair and equitable sharing of benefits. This objective highlights the need for fair access to genetic resources and ensures that benefits derived from their use, such as biotechnological innovations, are shared with the communities or countries from which the resources originate. This is crucial for ensuring equity in global conservation efforts and fostering collaboration between nations. 3. Key features of the CBD 3.1. The Cartagena Protocol on Biosafety 2000. One of the significant additions to the CBD is the Cartagena Protocol on Biosafety, which was adopted in 2000 to address the potential risks associated with living modified organisms, LMOs, particularly those resulting from biotechnology. The protocol establishes procedures for the safe transfer, handling, and use of LMOs, emphasizing the precautionary approach to the use of biotechnology and its potential impacts on biodiversity. 3.2. The Nagoya Protocol on Access and Benefit Sharing 2010. The Nagoya Protocol is another important instrument under the CBD, adopted in 2010. It establishes internationally recognized rules for the fair and equitable sharing of benefits arising from the use of genetic resources. This protocol seeks to ensure that countries and communities that provide genetic resources receive fair compensation for their contributions to biotechnology and other industries that rely on these resources. 3.3. National Biodiversity Strategies and Action Plans, NBSAPs. Countries that are parties to the CBD are required to develop and implement national biodiversity strategies and action plans. Countries that are parties to the CBD are required to develop and implement national biodiversity strategies and action plans, NBSAPs. These plans outline the country's priorities for biodiversity conservation and sustainable use, as well as specific actions to meet the objectives of the CBD. NBSAPs play a critical role in national-level implementation and monitoring of the CBD's goals. 3.4. The Global Strategy for Plant Conservation, GSPC. In addition to the core provisions of the CBD, the Global Strategy for Plant Conservation, GSPC, was adopted to promote the conservation of plant diversity worldwide. The GSPC includes specific targets, such as the conservation of at least 60% of the world's threatened species in botanic gardens and the identification of plants that could be critical to food security. 4. Achievements and challenges. The CBD has been instrumental in promoting biodiversity conservation worldwide and has led to the development of numerous national and international conservation programs. However, despite its widespread acceptance and success, several challenges remain. Implementation gaps. While many countries have ratified the CBD, implementation at the national level remains inconsistent. Some nations face difficulties in translating CBD commitments into effective policies and practices due to lack of capacity, resources, and political will. Biodiversity loss. Despite the CBD's efforts, biodiversity continues to decline at an alarming rate, driven by factors such as habitat destruction, climate change, pollution, and overexploitation of resources. Funding constraints. Many countries, particularly developing nations, face financial limitations in implementing biodiversity conservation programs. Although the CBD encourages international funding, much of the required funding for effective conservation remains inadequate. 5. Previous year questions. Question. The Convention on Biological Diversity, CBD, was adopted at the Earth Summit, Rio Summit, in A. 1990. B. 1992, C. 1994, D. 1995. Answer. B. 1992 year, 2016. Question. The Nagoya Protocol under the CBD aims to address issues related to A. Climate change. B. Pollution control. C. Access and benefit sharing of genetic resources, D. Waste management. Answer. C. Access and benefit sharing of genetic resources year, 2017. Question. The Cartagena Protocol on Biosafety was adopted to A. Conserve biodiversity. B. Promote sustainable development. C. Ensure the safe use of biotechnology and LMOs. D. Address climate change impacts. Answer. C. Ensure the safe use of biotechnology and LMOs year, 2018. Question. The Convention on Biological Diversity, CBD, focuses on the conservation of A. Only endangered species. B. Only terrestrial biodiversity. C. Biodiversity at all levels, genes, species, ecosystems. D. Only marine biodiversity. Answer. C. Biodiversity at all levels, genes, species, ecosystems year, 2019. Question. The Global Strategy for Plant Conservation, GSPC, aims to conserve at least 60% of the world's threatened plant species in A. Natural reserves. B. Botanic gardens. C. National parks. D. Marine protected areas. Answer. B. Botanic gardens year, 2020. 6. Conclusion. The Convention on Biological Diversity, CBD, remains a cornerstone of global biodiversity conservation efforts. By promoting the conservation and sustainable use of biodiversity and ensuring the fair sharing of benefits from genetic resources, the CBD contributes significantly to achieving the broader goals of sustainable development. While challenges remain in the full implementation of the Convention's provisions, the global community's commitment to its objectives is crucial for halting biodiversity loss and ensuring a sustainable future for generations to come. You said, Kyoto Protocol. ChatGPT said, Kyoto Protocol 1997-1. Introduction. The Kyoto Protocol is an international treaty that was adopted in Kyoto, Japan, in 1997 under the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, UNFCCC. Its primary objective was to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, GHGs, globally, based on the principle of common but differentiated responsibilities and respective capabilities. The protocol commits industrialized countries and economies in transition to reduce their emissions of GHGs to levels that were below 1990 levels by the commitment period of 2008-2012. The Kyoto Protocol represented a significant step in addressing global climate change by introducing legally binding targets for reducing emissions from industrialized countries. 2. Key features of the Kyoto Protocol 2.1 Emission reduction targets. Under the Kyoto Protocol, industrialized countries, referred to as Annex I countries, were required to reduce their GHG emissions by an average of 5.2% below 1990 levels during the first commitment period of 2008-2012. These targets were differentiated based on the economic capabilities of the countries, with wealthier nations having more ambitious targets. Developing countries, non-annexed countries, were not subjected to mandatory emissions reductions but were encouraged to contribute to global efforts in combating climate change through voluntary measures. 2.2 Market-based mechanisms. The Kyoto Protocol introduced several market-based mechanisms to help countries meet their emission reduction targets. Emissions trading. Countries that exceeded their emission reduction targets could sell their excess allowances to countries that were unable to meet their targets. Clean Development Mechanism, CDM. This mechanism allowed industrialized countries to invest in emission reduction projects in developing countries. These projects generated certified emission reduction credits, CERs, which could be used by industrialized countries to meet their emission targets. Joint Implementation, JI. This allowed countries with emission reduction commitments to invest in projects that reduced emissions in other industrialized countries. The projects generated emission reduction units, ERIs, that could be used for compliance. 2.3 Flexibility provisions. The Kyoto Protocol also allowed for flexibility in how countries could meet their targets, providing several mechanisms. Carbon sinks. Emissions reductions from afforestation and reforestation activities. Carbon sequestration through forest management. International emissions trading allowed countries to trade emission allowances, which helped in achieving cost-effective reductions. These mechanisms were designed to provide economic flexibility and cost efficiency for countries to achieve their emissions reduction targets. 3. Ratification and participation. The Kyoto Protocol entered into force in 2005 after it was ratified by at least 55 countries, which accounted for at least 55% of global greenhouse gas emissions in 1990. The United States, which was the world's largest emitter at the time, signed the protocol but did not ratify it, citing concerns over the economic impact and the lack of binding emissions reduction commitments for developing countries. The protocol's legal framework set out obligations for the industrialized countries, and it created the International Transaction Log (ITL) to monitor the transfer of emission reduction credits. 4. Achievements and criticisms. The Kyoto Protocol achieved a number of important goals, but it also faced significant criticism and challenges. 4.1 Achievements. Emissions reductions. The protocol succeeded in stabilizing emissions from industrialized countries. During the first commitment period, 2008-2012, many annexed countries reduced their emissions, and some exceeded their targets. Global attention on climate change. The Kyoto Protocol played a significant role in raising global awareness of the need to address climate change and pave the way for future international agreements, such as the Paris Agreement. Flexible market mechanisms. The introduction of market-based mechanisms, such as emissions trading, the CDM, and G, allowed for cost-effective approaches to reduce emissions and encourage private sector involvement in climate change mitigation. 4.2 Criticisms and challenges. Limited participation. The United States, which was the world's largest emitter at the time, did not ratify the protocol, and several other developed countries did not meet their emissions reduction targets. Lack of binding targets for developing countries. The protocol did not impose binding emission reduction commitments on developing countries, which led to criticisms that it was inequitable. Inefficiency of market mechanisms. Some critics argue that the market-based mechanisms did not result in real emissions reductions, as they allowed countries to meet their targets by purchasing carbon credits rather than making substantial domestic emissions reductions. Failure to reduce global emissions. While some annexed countries reduced their emissions, global emissions continued to rise, driven primarily by the rapid industrialization of developing countries like China and India. This led to criticisms that the protocol was insufficient in addressing the global nature of climate change. 5. The end of the Kyoto Protocol and transition to the Paris Agreement. The Kyoto Protocol's first commitment period ended in 2012, and it was extended through a second commitment period under the Doha Amendment 2012, which committed countries to further reductions. However, this second period had limited participation and was overshadowed by the negotiation of a new global agreement on climate change. In 2015, the Paris Agreement was adopted, which superseded the Kyoto Protocol. The Paris Agreement introduced a new framework where all countries, both developed and developing, are required to set nationally determined contributions (NDCs) to reduce emissions, with a goal to limit global temperature rise to well below 2 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels, aiming for 1.5 degrees Celsius. 6. Previous year questions. Question. The Kyoto Protocol is related to A. Biodiversity conservation, B. Climate change mitigation, C. Pollution control, D. Forest conservation. Answer. B. Climate change mitigation. Year 2016. Question. Which of the following is not a market-based mechanism under the Kyoto Protocol? A. Emissions trading. B. Clean Development Mechanism, CDM. C. Joint Implementation, G. D. Emissions intensity trading. Answer. D. Emissions intensity trading. Year 2017. Question. The Kyoto Protocol requires industrialized countries to reduce their GHG emissions by an average of A. 5.2% below 1990 levels. B. 10% below 1990 levels. C. 15% below 1990 levels. D. 20% below 1990 levels. Answer. A. 5.2% below 1990 levels. Year 2018. Question. Which of the following countries did not ratify the Kyoto Protocol? A. India. B. Japan. C. United States. D. Brazil. Answer. C. United States. Year 2019. Question. The Kyoto Protocol was adopted in A. 1997. B. 1998. C. 2000. D. 2005. Answer. A. 1997. Year 2020. 7. Conclusion. The Kyoto Protocol marked a critical point in international climate diplomacy, setting legally binding emission reduction targets for industrialized countries and introducing market-based mechanisms to achieve these goals. While it made important contributions to global climate change mitigation efforts, its limitations, especially the absence of binding targets for developing countries and the lack of participation by key nations like the United States, highlighted the need for a more comprehensive and inclusive climate agreement, which was later addressed by the Paris Agreement. Despite its challenges, the Kyoto Protocol laid the groundwork for future global cooperation on climate change and remains an important milestone in the international response to global warming. You said. Paris Agreement. ChatGPT said. Paris Agreement 2015-1. Introduction. The Paris Agreement is a landmark international treaty on climate change adopted by 196 countries at the UN Climate Change Conference (COP21) in Paris on December 12, 2015. The agreement aims to limit global temperature rise to well below 2 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels, with an ambition to limit it to 1.5 degrees Celsius. Unlike previous agreements, the Paris Agreement applies to all countries, both developed and developing, and encourages them to take action in line with their national circumstances, capabilities, and levels of development. This treaty is a global effort to address climate change and reduce its adverse effects, ensuring that climate action becomes an integral part of global governance. 2. Key features of the Paris Agreement. 2.1 Nationally determined contributions (NDCs). One of the most significant features of the Paris Agreement is its emphasis on nationally determined contributions (NDCs). Each country is required to outline and communicate their individual climate action plans, known as NDCs, to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and adapt to climate change. Unlike the Kyoto Protocol, where targets were legally binding for developed countries, the Paris Agreement's targets are voluntary and self-determined. However, countries are encouraged to submit increasingly ambitious NDCs every 5 years. 2.2 Global temperature goal. The agreement sets the goal to limit global temperature rise to well below 2 degrees Celsius and to pursue efforts to limit it to 1.5 degrees Celsius. This target is essential for avoiding the worst impacts of climate change, such as extreme weather events, sea level rise, and disruptions to ecosystems and human societies. The decision to aim for 1.5 degrees Celsius was driven by scientific evidence showing that this threshold would significantly reduce the risks and impacts of climate change. 2.3 Adaptation and resilience. The Paris Agreement recognizes the importance of adapting to the impacts of climate change that are already occurring and will continue to affect communities, particularly in vulnerable regions. The agreement establishes a framework for adaptation, encouraging countries to develop and implement national adaptation plans to enhance resilience to climate change. This includes supporting the most vulnerable countries, particularly least developed countries (LDCs) and small island developing states with resources and technical assistance. 2.4 Climate finance. The Paris Agreement emphasizes the need for financial support to help developing countries in their mitigation and adaptation efforts. Developed countries are committed to providing $100 billion per year in climate finance to developing countries by 2020, with the aim of increasing this amount over time. This financial support is crucial for enabling countries with limited resources to meet their climate targets and build resilience against climate impacts. 2.5 Transparency and accountability. To ensure that countries follow through on their commitments, the Paris Agreement introduces a robust transparency framework. This includes regular reporting on emissions, progress towards NDCs, and the implementation of climate action. Countries are required to submit biannual reports that outline their emissions and climate policies, which will be subject to an international review process. This process is designed to encourage accountability and to build trust among nations that they are doing their part. 2.6 Mechanisms for support. In addition to financial support, the Paris Agreement establishes mechanisms for capacity building and technology transfer to assist developing countries. These mechanisms are crucial for helping countries access the necessary tools, knowledge, and resources to implement effective climate action. The Paris Agreement also includes provisions for strengthening the role of non-state actors, such as cities, businesses, and civil society, in climate action efforts. 3. Achievements and successes. The Paris Agreement marks a historic turning point in international climate policy for several reasons. Global participation. Unlike the Kyoto Protocol, which had binding commitments only for developed countries, the Paris Agreement is a universal accord that includes all countries, both developed and developing. Ambitious global goals. The 1.5 degrees Celsius target sets an ambitious, science-based goal for global temperature rise, pushing countries to take stronger action to reduce emissions. Flexible and dynamic. The voluntary nature of the NDCs and the 5-year update cycle provide flexibility for countries to enhance their commitments over time, allowing for the alignment of climate action with the latest scientific findings. Public and private sector engagement. The Paris Agreement recognizes the importance of non-state actors and encourages businesses, cities, and local governments to contribute to climate mitigation and adaptation efforts. 4. Challenges and criticisms. Despite its successes, the Paris Agreement has faced several challenges and criticisms. Lack of binding emission reduction targets. While the NDCs are voluntary, they are not legally binding, which raises concerns about whether countries will meet their commitments. This makes it challenging to ensure full accountability for emission reductions. Unequal responsibilities. Although the Paris Agreement calls for common action, some critics argue that the targets are not sufficiently differentiated between countries with different levels of development and emissions. Insufficient financial support. While the agreement includes provisions for climate finance, there are concerns that the financial support pledged by developed countries will be insufficient to meet the needs of developing nations, particularly in terms of adaptation and loss and damage. Uncertainty of the 1.5 degrees Celsius target. Despite the ambitious goal of limiting global temperature rise to 1.5 degrees Celsius, there is concern that the current NDCs are insufficient to achieve this target. According to climate scientists, the world is still on track for a 3 degrees Celsius rise unless countries ramp up their efforts. 5. Role of key players. The success of the Paris Agreement depends largely on the commitment and leadership of key countries, particularly the United States, China, and India, the world's largest emitters of GHGs. The U.S. under President Donald Trump announced its withdrawal from the Paris Agreement in 2017, but under President Joe Biden, the U.S. rejoined the accord in 2021, highlighting the importance of political will in the fight against climate change. 6. Previous year questions. Question. The Paris Agreement was adopted in which year? A. 2009. B. 2015. C. 2017. D. 2020. Answer. B. 2015 year. 2018. Question. Under the Paris Agreement, countries are required to update their nationally determined contributions, NDCs, every A. 2 years. B. 3 years. C. 5 years. D. 10 years. Answer. C. 5 years. Year. 2019. Question. The Paris Agreement aims to limit global temperature rise to below A. 1 degree Celsius. B. 1.5 degrees Celsius. C. 2 degrees Celsius. D. 2.5 degrees Celsius. Answer. B. 1.5 degrees Celsius. Year. 2020. Question. Which of the following is a key feature of the Paris Agreement? A. Legally binding emission reduction targets for all countries. B. Financial support only for developed countries. C. Nationally determined contributions, NDCs, that are voluntary and non-binding. D. Only developing countries are required to submit NDCs. Answer. C. Nationally determined contributions, NDCs, that are voluntary and non-binding. Year. 2021. Question. Which country was the first to announce its withdrawal from the Paris Agreement in 2017? A. China. B. India. C. United States. D. Brazil. Answer. C. United States. Year. 2021. 7. Conclusion. The Paris Agreement represents a historic and universal global effort to combat climate change. By setting a clear global temperature target, promoting transparency, and encouraging countries to take action according to their national circumstances, the agreement provides a framework for international cooperation on climate change. However, its success will depend on the commitment of all nations, the adequacy of financial support, and the timely implementation of enhanced NDCs. As the world faces increasing climate risks, the Paris Agreement remains a key instrument in mitigating climate change and securing a sustainable future for all. You said. International Solar Alliance. ChatGPT said. International Solar Alliance ESA 1. Introduction. The International Solar Alliance ESA is an alliance of more than 120 countries, most of them being sunshine-rich nations, aimed at promoting the use of solar energy. It was launched in November 2015 by India and France during the COP21 climate change conference in Paris. The primary objective of the ESA is to facilitate the large-scale deployment of solar energy, enhance energy access, and support sustainable development by harnessing the power of solar energy. The alliance focuses on reducing the cost of solar power, promoting renewable energy technologies, and helping countries transition to cleaner, more sustainable energy sources. 2. Objectives of the ESA. The key objectives of the International Solar Alliance are as follows. Promote solar energy deployment. The ESA aims to accelerate the deployment of solar energy in both urban and rural areas across member countries by creating an enabling environment, facilitating investments, and promoting technological advancements. Support solar technology innovation. By fostering solar energy research, technology development, and innovations, the ESA aims to help reduce the cost and increase the efficiency of solar energy systems globally. Enhance solar energy access. The alliance works to expand access to solar energy, particularly in developing and least developed countries (LDCs) that have limited access to electricity. This is done through financing options, awareness-building programs, and policy advocacy. Energy security and sustainability. The ESA promotes energy security and sustainability by helping countries reduce their dependence on fossil fuels and increase their adoption of renewable energy sources such as solar power. Mobilize financial resources. The ESA works to facilitate investments and financial support from both public and private sectors to fund solar energy projects, particularly in developing nations. Create a collaborative platform. It acts as a platform for member countries to share knowledge, exchange best practices, and cooperate on issues related to solar energy and its implementation. 3. Key functions of ESA. The ESA performs several key functions to achieve its goals. Policy advocacy and capacity building. The ESA promotes favorable policies and supports capacity building efforts to help member countries develop their solar energy sectors. This includes training programs, workshops, and policy advisory services. Mobilization of finance. The ESA plays a critical role in facilitating financial assistance for solar energy projects by collaborating with multilateral development banks, private investors, and other financing institutions. Technology transfer. The alliance works on facilitating technology transfer between countries, helping developing nations access advanced solar technologies at affordable rates. Research and development. The ESA supports research and development in solar energy to improve solar technology, making it more affordable and accessible for countries worldwide. Monitoring and reporting. The ESA tracks progress on solar energy deployment and provides member countries with the data necessary for monitoring and evaluating their solar energy programs. 4. Institutional structure. The ESA has a well-defined institutional structure that includes the following key components. Assembly. The Assembly is the supreme decision-making body of the ESA, consisting of all the member countries. It meets annually and sets the overall strategic direction and priorities of the alliance. Secretariat. The Secretariat is responsible for the day-to-day operations of the ESA. It provides administrative support, coordinates programs and projects, and facilitates communication between member countries. The ESA Secretariat is based in Gurugram, India. Governing Council. The Governing Council is responsible for overseeing the implementation of programs and initiatives approved by the Assembly. It is composed of representatives from select countries and has a critical role in shaping the ESA's policies and strategies. Solar resource mobilization. The ESA also works closely with financial institutions and development banks to ensure adequate funding for solar energy initiatives, particularly in solar projects in rural and underserved regions. 5. Benefits of ESA membership. Countries that are part of the ESA stand to gain numerous benefits, including access to funding. Member countries can gain access to solar finance mechanisms that support solar power projects in developing nations, helping them overcome financial barriers to large-scale solar deployment. Technology sharing. Membership in the ESA allows countries to share knowledge and resources related to solar technology, creating opportunities for technology transfer and improving access to advanced solar energy solutions. Collaboration on solar energy projects. The ESA provides a platform for international cooperation, allowing countries to work together on solar energy projects, including joint ventures, research collaborations, and knowledge exchange. Training and capacity building. Member countries have access to various capacity building programs that help develop human resources and expertise in solar energy technologies and policies. Energy security. By increasing the adoption of solar energy, countries can reduce their dependence on imported fossil fuels, enhancing their energy security and economic stability. 6. Key initiatives by the ESA. Several important initiatives and programs have been launched by the International Solar Alliance to advance solar energy adoption. The Solar Financing Facility. The ESA has launched this initiative to provide affordable financing for solar projects, particularly in developing countries. The facility seeks to leverage private sector investment and provide concessional loans for solar energy projects. Solar Decade Initiative. The ESA has declared the 2020-2030 period as the solar decade, with the goal of expanding solar capacity to 1,000 gigawatts by 2030. The initiative calls for increased global cooperation and investment in solar energy. Global Solar Atlas. The ESA is working on creating a global solar atlas that provides detailed solar resource data to assist countries in evaluating the solar potential of their regions and formulating better policies and strategies for solar energy deployment. Solar technology transfer. The ESA promotes the transfer of cutting-edge solar technology to developing nations, allowing them to leapfrog traditional energy infrastructure and adopt sustainable solar solutions. Training and capacity building programs. The ESA conducts workshops, training programs, and webinars to improve the skills and knowledge of stakeholders in the solar energy sector. 7. Previous year questions. Question. The International Solar Alliance ESA was launched in which year? A. 2010. B. 2015. C. 2016. D. 2020. Answer. B. 2015 year. 2019. Question. The International Solar Alliance is headquartered in which city? A. New Delhi. B. Paris. C. Gurugram. D. Beijing. Answer. C. Gurugram year. 2020. Question. What is the main objective of the International Solar Alliance? A. Promote nuclear energy. B. Accelerate the deployment of solar energy. C. Facilitate fossil fuel exploration. D. Reduce solar energy use. Answer. B. Accelerate the deployment of solar energy year. 2021. Question. Which two countries launched the International Solar Alliance ESA at COP21 in 2015? A. India and China. B. India and France. C. USA and India. D. China and France. Answer. B. India and France year. 2019. Question. The goal of the Solar Decade Initiative of the ESA is to expand solar capacity to how many gigawatts by 2030? A. 500 gigawatts. B. 1,000 gigawatts. C. 1,500 gigawatts. D. 2,000 gigawatts. Answer. B. 1,000 gigawatts year. 2021. 8. Conclusion. The International Solar Alliance ESA is a key global initiative aimed at accelerating the use of solar energy and advancing the global energy transition. By fostering international collaboration, promoting technological innovation, and providing financial support, the ESA has the potential to revolutionize energy access and sustainability, particularly in developing countries. Through its ambitious goals, such as the Solar Decade Initiative and the Global Solar Atlas, the ESA is well positioned to play a pivotal role in the global movement towards a cleaner, more sustainable energy future. You said. Higher education system. Institutions of higher learning and education in ancient India. ChatGPT said. Institutions of higher learning and education in ancient India. India's education system, particularly in the ancient period, was renowned for its vast intellectual traditions and advanced knowledge systems. Education in ancient India was rooted in a deep philosophical and spiritual context, which sought to develop not only the intellect but also the character and values of individuals. The institutions of higher learning during this time played a crucial role in shaping the intellectual, religious, and cultural fabric of Indian society. They were often associated with religious or philosophical teachings, with a focus on holistic development. 1. Nalanda University. One of the most prominent centers of learning in ancient India was Nalanda University, located in present-day Bihar. Established around the 5th century CE, it became a leading seat of Buddhist learning and one of the oldest residential universities in the world. Academic excellence. Nalanda attracted scholars from all over the world, including China, Korea, Japan, Tibet, Mongolia, Sri Lanka, and Southeast Asia. The university provided education in various disciplines, including Buddhism, logic, grammar, mathematics, astronomy, medicine, and philosophy. Faculty and students. The university had a prestigious faculty that included renowned scholars like Aryabhata and astronomer Xuanzang, a Chinese Buddhist monk, and Dharmapala. The number of students in Nalanda at its peak is believed to have exceeded 10,000, with scholars receiving an in-depth education, often living within the campus to study and debate. Curriculum. Nalanda's curriculum was not limited to one specific field. It offered a broad range of subjects, including medicine, mathematics, astronomy, art, literature, and logic. The emphasis was placed on the synthesis of theoretical and practical knowledge. Destruction. Nalanda University, which had flourished for several centuries, was destroyed by Bakhtiyar Khilji's army in the 12th century CE, marking the end of its dominance as a major educational institution in India. 2. Takshashila University. Takshashila, located in present-day Pakistan, was another prominent center of higher learning in ancient India. It is believed to have existed around the 5th century BCE and was a place where scholars from various parts of the world gathered to study. Academic areas. Takshashila was famous for its teachings in medicine, astronomy, mathematics, military science, philosophy, and politics. It was especially notable for its education in statecraft, with scholars being trained in governance, diplomacy, and military strategy. Famous scholars. One of the most famous scholars associated with Takshashila was Chanakya, also known as Kautilya, the author of the ancient Indian political treatise Arthashastra. Takshashila also attracted renowned scholars such as Panini, the ancient grammarian, and Jivaka, the physician and Buddhist monk. Teaching methods. At Takshashila, the educational system emphasized critical thinking, dialogue, and interaction between teachers and students. The teachers were often respected figures in their respective fields, and the learning process was rigorous and comprehensive. 3. Vikramashila University. Located in present-day Bihar, Vikramashila University was another renowned institution of higher learning in medieval India, founded by Dharmapala in the 8th century CE during the Pala dynasty. Curriculum and specializations. Vikramashila was known for its extensive studies in Buddhism and other subjects such as logic, grammar, astronomy, and medicine. The university is said to have had around 1,000 professors who were experts in their respective fields. Buddhist studies. Unlike Nalanda, Vikramashila was particularly focused on the Mahayana school of Buddhism and was known for its role in the propagation of Tantric Buddhism. It attracted scholars from many countries, especially from Tibet and China. Downfall. Vikramashila, like Nalanda, was destroyed by Turkish invaders during the early 12th century CE, signaling the decline of Buddhist centers of learning in India. 4. Universities in South India. In the southern part of India, particularly in regions like Tamil Nadu and Karnataka, several important educational institutions existed, primarily linked to temples and monasteries, where education was imparted in a variety of fields, including philosophy, literature, science, and mathematics. Madurai and Kanchipuram. Madurai was known for its association with the Tamil Sangams, which were academies of Tamil literature that flourished during the Chola dynasty. Similarly, Kanchipuram was a center for Vedic learning and philosophy, where the teachings of Advaita Vedanta by Adisankara attracted many students. Brahmanical learning centers. In the south, education was deeply influenced by Brahmanical traditions, and learning was often linked to the religious practices of Hinduism. Many of these centers produced great scholars in areas of mathematics, philosophy, and astronomy. 5. Role of temples in education. Temples in ancient India served as not only places of worship but also as centers of learning. Priests and gurus would teach students the Vedas, sutras, grammar, and other sacred texts. These institutions also played a significant role in the propagation of knowledge in mathematics with figures like Brahmagupta and Bhaskara, astronomy, and medicine. Temple libraries. Many ancient temples house large libraries, which contain manuscripts on subjects ranging from philosophy to science and medicine. The Sri Chidambaram Temple, for instance, is said to have been a hub for the transmission of scientific and philosophical knowledge. 6. Education for women in ancient India. While formal higher education institutions like Nalanda and Takshashila predominantly catered to men, there were provisions for women's education in ancient India as well, especially in the domains of spirituality, literature, and music. Brahmavidya. The tradition of Brahmavidya, knowledge of the self, was open to women, and several women scholars like Gargi Bhattacharya and Meghalaya are mentioned in the Vedic texts as contributors to spiritual and philosophical discussions. Buddhist influence. Buddhism also offered education to women. Buddhist influence. Buddhism also offered education to women, as seen in the development of nuns' communities, bhikkhunis, where women received education in philosophy, meditation, and moral teachings. 7. Conclusion. The higher education system in ancient India was not only an intellectual institution but also a means of spiritual and cultural development. Institutions like Nalanda, Takshashila, and Vikramashila played crucial roles in advancing knowledge in a wide range of disciplines, fostering a culture of intellectual pursuit that was recognized globally. Despite the invasions and destruction of these institutions, the legacy of learning in ancient India continues to influence contemporary educational systems, particularly in the realms of philosophy, mathematics, astronomy, and medicine. Previous year questions. Question. Which of the following universities was the most prominent center of Buddhist learning in ancient India? A. Nalanda. B. Takshashila. C. Vikramashila. D. Kanchipuram. Answer. A. Nalanda. Year 2020. Question. Who is associated with the establishment of Takshashila University? A. Panini. B. Aryabhata. C. Chanakya. D. Jayavika. Answer. A. Panini. Year 2019. Question. The destruction of Nalanda University was carried out by which invader? A. Babur. B. Mahmud of Ghazni. C. Bakhtiyar Khilji. D. Alauddin Khilji. Answer. C. Bakhtiyar Khilji. Year 2021. Question. Which of the following subjects was not part of the curriculum at Nalanda University? A. Grammar. B. Astronomy. C. Agriculture. D. Medicine. Answer. C. Agriculture. Year 2018. Question. Where was the famous Vikramashila University located? A. Bengal. B. Bihar. C. Orissa. D. Tamil Nadu. Answer. B. Bihar. Year 2020. You said. Evolution of higher learning and research in post-independence India. ChatGPT said. Evolution of higher learning and research in post-independence India. The period following India's independence in 1947 marked a significant transformation in the landscape of higher education and research in the country. The vision of a modern, self-reliant, and intellectually vibrant India demanded the development of robust educational frameworks, research institutions, and policy structures. This evolution reflects the country's commitment to knowledge creation, scientific progress, and societal development. Below is an exploration of how higher learning and research evolved in post-independence India. 1. Establishment of central universities and institutes. Post-independence, the Indian government focused on setting up institutions that could cater to the growing demand for advanced education and scientific research. Central universities. The government established several central universities like Jawaharlal Nehru University (JNU) 1969, University of Delhi, re-established as a central university in 1956, and Banaras Hindu University (BHU), which have since become prominent centers for higher education, particularly in social sciences, humanities, and natural sciences. Indian Institutes of Technology (IITs). The IITs were established to foster technical education and research. The first IIT, IIT Kharagpur, was set up in 1951, followed by others such as IIT Bombay, IIT Madras, and IIT Kanpur. These institutes were designed to produce highly skilled engineers and scientists who would contribute to India's industrial and technological growth. Indian Institutes of Management (IIMs). To complement the technical education system, the first IIM was established at Ahmedabad in 1961. The IIMs have grown into world-class business schools, producing leaders in business and management. National Institutes of Technology (NITS). The establishment of NITS like NIT Warrandal and NIT Trichy ensured that regional education in engineering and technology could be made accessible to students across the country. 2. Promotion of scientific research and innovation. After independence, there was a marked increase in the emphasis on scientific research, which was considered essential for the nation's economic growth, security, and self-reliance. Indian Council of Agricultural Research (ICAR), founded in 1929, ICAR became a central player in the advancement of agricultural sciences post-independence, contributing to agricultural productivity and research in fields such as crop science, animal husbandry, and fisheries. Council of Scientific and Industrial Research (CSIR), established in 1942, CSIR gained prominence after 1947 and created a network of laboratories in various scientific fields. Institutes like the National Aerospace Laboratories (NAL), National Chemical Laboratory (NCL), and Central Drug Research Institute (CDRI) became central to India's scientific development. Indian Space Research Organization (ISRO). The establishment of ISRO in 1969, under the leadership of Dr. Vikram Sarabhai, was one of the crowning achievements of India's scientific community. ISRO has become a world leader in space research, satellite launches, and space exploration, contributing to global advancements in satellite technology and telecommunications. Indian Atomic Energy Commission (AEC). The AEC, under the leadership of Dr. Homi Bhabha, played a pivotal role in establishing nuclear research in India. India's first nuclear reactor, Aspara, was set up in 1956, and it has since achieved notable success in nuclear energy production. 3. National policies and frameworks. Several policy decisions and national frameworks helped shape the direction of higher learning and research in post-independence India. The University Grants Commission (UGC), established in 1956, the UGC was tasked with overseeing the development and maintenance of standards in higher education institutions in India. It provided funding and set regulations for universities across the country. The National Policy on Education (1968). The policy emphasized the importance of improving education quality in India. It advocated for modernization of teaching methods, research promotion, and expansion of educational access in both urban and rural areas. The National Policy on Education (1986). The NPE focused on achieving equity and quality in education, enhancing technical and vocational training, and promoting scientific research and innovation to meet the growing needs of the country. The National Institutional Ranking Framework (NIRF), established in 2015 by the Ministry of Human Resource Development, NIRF aims to promote academic excellence, research capabilities, and international rankings of Indian educational institutions. 4. Growth of research and development (R&D). Post-independence, India made substantial progress in various research fields, particularly in science and technology. Technological and engineering research. The establishment of IITs and regional engineering colleges in the 1950s and 1960s marked the beginning of India's pursuit of self-reliance in technology. Indian scientists and engineers contributed to national defense, telecommunications, and industrial sectors. Biotechnology and pharmaceuticals. The Indian biotechnology industry grew substantially in the post-independence period, with institutions like Biocon and Bharat Biotech emerging as leaders in pharmaceutical innovation. India's progress in the production of vaccines, including for polio and COVID-19, has been lauded globally. Medical research. The growth of medical research institutions such as the All India Institute of Medical Sciences (AIIMS) in New Delhi, established in 1956, fostered advancements in healthcare and medical education. India is also a global leader in generic drug production, providing affordable medications worldwide. 5. International collaborations and global recognition. Post-independence India increasingly participated in international academic collaborations and became a member of major global organizations involved in education and research. Collaborations with global universities and research institutions. Indian universities and research institutions began collaborating with world-renowned universities like Harvard, MIT, and Cambridge for joint research projects, faculty exchanges, and student programs. This led to a global exchange of knowledge and an increase in Indian representation in global academic forums. Global rankings and research impact. In recent years, institutions like IITs, IIMs, and AIIMS have gained international recognition. Indian researchers are now involved in cutting-edge studies in fields such as quantum computing, artificial intelligence, genetic engineering, and climate change. Student mobility and diaspora. There has been a marked increase in Indian students studying abroad, with India becoming a source of highly skilled professionals in global markets. Simultaneously, international students are now increasingly coming to India to pursue higher education, especially in engineering, management, and medical sciences. 6. The challenges and future of higher education and research in India. Despite these successes, post-independence India faces several challenges in its higher education system and research capabilities. Quality of education. While there is an increasing number of institutions, the quality of education is often inconsistent across universities and colleges. There remains a need for greater investment in teaching resources, infrastructure, and faculty development. Research funding. The funding for research in India remains limited compared to global standards. While the government has made efforts to increase funding for R&D, private sector involvement in research and development still lags behind that of developed countries. Brain drain. Despite the growing number of educational opportunities in India, there is still a tendency for highly skilled graduates to migrate abroad for better career prospects, leading to a brain drain. Innovation ecosystem. There is a growing need to foster an innovation-driven ecosystem that connects research institutions with industry, government, and society. India's push towards startups, entrepreneurship, and innovation hubs is an important step toward creating this ecosystem. Conclusion. The evolution of higher learning and research in post-independence India represents a remarkable journey from basic education to global leadership in areas such as engineering, medicine, science, and technology. With continued investments, policy reforms, and international collaborations, India has the potential to become a global hub for research and development in the coming decades. Ensuring equity, quality, and accessibility across all sectors of education will be crucial in shaping the future of higher learning in India. Previous year questions. Question. Which of the following institutes was established to foster advanced technical education in post-independence India? A. Banaras Hindu University. B. Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur. C. Jawaharlal Nehru University. D. All India Institute of Medical Sciences. Answer. B. Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur. Year 2021. Question. Which of the following organizations was established in 1956 to oversee and regulate higher education in India? A. Indian Council of Agricultural Research. B. University Grants Commission. C. National Board of Accreditation. D. National Institute of Open Schooling. Answer. B. University Grants Commission. Year 2020. Question. What was the main goal of establishing the Indian Institutes of Management (IIMs) in post-independence India? A. To train doctors for the healthcare system. B. To promote higher education in the arts. C. To develop leaders in the business and management fields. D. To promote agricultural education. Answer. C. To develop leaders in the business and management fields. Year 2019. Question. Which major scientific organization was founded in 1969 to promote space research in India? A. Indian Atomic Energy Commission. B. Indian Space Research Organization. C. Indian Council of Medical Research. D. Council of Scientific and Industrial Research. Answer. B. Indian Space Research Organization. Year 2022. Question. The National Policy on Education, 1986 emphasized which of the following? A. Research in humanities and arts. B. Establishment of technical universities. C. Quality and equity in education. D. Internationalization of higher education. Answer. C. Quality and equity in education. Year 2021. You said. Oriental, conventional and non-conventional learning programs in India. ChatGPT said. Oriental, conventional, and non-conventional learning programs in India. India's education system has undergone significant transformation over the years, reflecting its rich cultural heritage and the evolving needs of society. In this context, learning programs in India are categorized into three major types: Oriental, conventional, and non-conventional. Each of these categories serves different purposes, responds to different educational needs, and is shaped by distinct pedagogical approaches. Below is a detailed exploration of these learning programs. 1. Oriental learning programs. Oriental learning in India refers to the traditional educational systems that focus primarily on classical knowledge, including languages, philosophy, literature, and the study of ancient texts. These systems, though rooted in the history and culture of India, have evolved over time to address contemporary educational demands. Characteristics. Classical knowledge. Oriental education has its roots in ancient texts such as the Vedas, Upanishads, Puranas, Bhagavad Gita, and the works of Indian scholars like Panini, Kautilya, and Kalidasa. Focus on humanities and arts. The curriculum typically emphasizes Sanskrit, Pali, Prakrit, and Arabic languages, along with Indian philosophy, theology, classical music, dance, and arts. Guru Shishya tradition. The traditional system of learning was based on the Guru Shishya teacher-student relationship, where students would learn under the guidance of a teacher in an informal, often one-on-one environment. Limited access and exclusivity. The ancient Oriental system was exclusive, often accessible only to the elite or Brahmin communities, and largely oral in nature, with limited written texts available to the public. Modern examples. Sanskrit universities. Institutions like Rashtriya Sanskrit Sansthan in New Delhi focus on preserving and promoting ancient Sanskrit education. Traditional Indian classical arts. Institutions such as Kalakshetra in Chennai promote Indian classical dance, music, and performing arts. Despite the increasing demand for modern education, Oriental learning continues to thrive in areas like philosophy, classical studies, and theology. 2. Conventional learning programs. Conventional learning refers to the mainstream or formal education system that has evolved with modern educational structures, offering structured curricula with specific objectives and standardized assessments. It focuses on a broad spectrum of academic fields such as science, arts, commerce, law, and medicine. Characteristics. Formal curriculum. Formal curriculum. Conventional education follows a structured curriculum, set by regulatory bodies such as the University Grants Commission, UGC, All India Council for Technical Education, AICTE, and National Council of Educational Research and Training, NCERT. Institutional framework. These learning programs are typically delivered in schools, colleges, and universities, with specific academic standards and grading systems. They offer degree programs such as BA, BSc, BCom, MA, MSc, MBA, etc. Pedagogical approach. Conventional learning is based on lectures, examinations, assignments, and project work, which are aimed at knowledge dissemination and the development of specific academic skills. Structured time frame. These programs have fixed schedules, with students progressing through prescribed levels of education over time, such as elementary education, secondary education, and tertiary education. Examples. Schools and colleges. The Central Board of Secondary Education, CBSE, and Indian Certificate of Secondary Education, ICSE, are examples of conventional systems at the school level. Undergraduate and postgraduate programs. Indian Institutes of Technology, IITs, Indian Institutes of Management, IIMs, and universities offering courses in engineering, management, science, commerce, law, and medicine. Public universities. Institutions such as Delhi University, Banaras Hindu University BHU, and University of Mumbai offer degree and postgraduate courses in a wide range of academic disciplines. Conventional learning is the dominant form of education in India and is the primary pathway for students seeking formal academic qualifications. 3. Non-conventional learning programs. Non-conventional learning programs cater to the growing demand for flexible, inclusive, and alternative educational models. These programs are particularly suited for individuals who might not be able to participate in traditional, formal education due to geographical, social, economic, or personal reasons. Characteristics. Flexible learning. Non-conventional learning programs are designed to provide students with the flexibility to learn at their own pace and in non-traditional formats, e.g., online courses, distance education, open learning. Inclusivity. These programs are often tailored to suit the needs of working professionals, housewives, rural students, or individuals seeking to improve their skills and knowledge outside the formal education system. Practical orientation. Many non-conventional courses focus on vocational skills, hands-on experience, and real-world applications, such as digital literacy, entrepreneurship, and technical skills. Alternative assessment methods. These programs often use alternative assessment techniques such as self-assessment, peer review, and portfolio-based evaluation rather than traditional exams. Examples. Open universities and distance education. Institutions such as the Indira Gandhi National Open University, IGNOU, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Open University, and Sikkim University offer undergraduate, postgraduate, and diploma courses through distance learning methods. These institutions provide access to education for students who cannot attend traditional universities. Online education platforms. Platforms such as SWAYAM, Coursera, Udemy, and edX offer massive open online courses, MOOCs, across a wide range of subjects. These platforms have gained popularity for their accessibility and cost-effectiveness. Skill development programs. Initiatives like Skill India and Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana (PMKVY) provide skill-based training in various vocational areas such as information technology, electrical work, plumbing, beauty care, and automotive repair. Non-conventional learning programs provide a valuable alternative for learners who wish to gain practical knowledge or skills outside the boundaries of conventional academic systems. Comparison and significance. Aspect-oriental learning, conventional learning, non-conventional learning, focus classical texts, philosophy, arts, broad academic subjects, science, arts, practical skills, flexible education, pedagogical approach, Guru Shishya tradition, oral learning, formal classrooms, examinations, grades, self-paced learning, online distance education, accessibility limited to elite or religious communities, open to all, structured programs, flexible, accessible to a wider range of people. Example: Sanskrit universities. Classical arts, IITs, IIMs, universities, schools, IGNOU, SWAYAM, online courses, target audience, traditional scholars, spiritual learners, students in formal education systems, working professionals, rural or marginalized students. Conclusion. In post-independence India, the education system has diversified to meet the varying needs of a rapidly evolving society. Oriental learning continues to preserve the rich cultural heritage, while conventional learning forms the backbone of the academic education system. Non-conventional learning has emerged as a crucial alternative, offering flexibility, inclusivity, and a focus on practical, skill-based education. Each of these learning programs contributes to a more inclusive, dynamic, and adaptive educational landscape in India, ensuring that all segments of society have access to relevant knowledge and skills for the modern world. Previous year questions. Question: which of the following is an example of a non-conventional learning program in India? A. Indian Institute of Technology, Bombay. B. Indira Gandhi National Open University. C. University of Delhi. D. Banaras Hindu University. Answer: B. Indira Gandhi National Open University. Year 2020. Question: what is the primary characteristic of Oriental learning in India? A. Focus on vocational training. B. Emphasis on ancient texts and philosophy. C. Delivery through online platforms. D. Scientific and technological education. Answer: B. Emphasis on ancient texts and philosophy. Year 2021. Question: which of the following platforms offers MOOCs, massive open online courses, in India? A. IGNOU. B. SWAYAM. C. Both A and B. D. University of Delhi. Answer: C. Both A and B. Year 2022. You said professional, technical, and skill-based education. ChatGPT said professional, technical, and skill-based education. In today's rapidly evolving global economy, education is increasingly being recognized as a critical factor in shaping an individual's career, life prospects, and economic development. In India, the growth of professional, technical, and skill-based education has been pivotal in meeting the demands of a dynamic job market, while also addressing national objectives such as industrial growth, technological advancement, and economic self-sufficiency. These forms of education are distinct from traditional academic education in their focus on specific skills, hands-on learning, and practical application in the workforce. 1. Professional education. Professional education refers to the specialized training provided to individuals seeking to develop expertise in a specific field or profession. This education is typically provided by universities, institutions, and colleges that offer degrees, diplomas, or certificates in specific career paths such as law, medicine, engineering, education, management, and architecture. Characteristics. Career-focused. Professional education is designed to prepare students for careers in particular fields by providing them with the necessary knowledge and skills. Industry-relevant curriculum. The curriculum is designed in consultation with industry experts and employers to ensure that graduates are ready to meet the challenges of the workforce. Licensing or certification. Many professional programs require students to pass licensing exams or receive certifications in order to practice in certain fields, e.g., medical licenses, bar exams for law. Internships and practical training. Professional education often includes internships, apprenticeships, or hands-on training to give students practical experience in their chosen profession. Examples. Medical education. Medical degrees such as MBBS, BDS, MD, and MS, which require rigorous training and examinations. Engineering and technology. Degrees like BTech, MTech, and engineering disciplines such as computer science, mechanical engineering, civil engineering, etc. Law, LL, B and LL, M degrees to prepare students for a career in law. Management, MBA, Master of Business Administration, degrees which provide training in business practices, management techniques, and leadership skills. Teaching and education, B.Ed and M.Ed degrees to train future educators in teaching methodologies, pedagogy, and curriculum design. 2. Technical education. Technical education is designed to equip individuals with the practical and technical skills needed to perform specific tasks in industries like manufacturing, technology, construction, communications, and more. It generally focuses on developing hands-on expertise in machinery operation, engineering principles, electronics, computer programming, networking, and other such fields that require specialized knowledge and skill. Characteristics. Skill-based learning. The focus is on developing specific technical skills, such as operating machinery, performing electrical repairs, programming software, and conducting scientific experiments. Industry alignment. The curriculum is closely aligned with industry needs, and students often gain experience through on-the-job training, workshops, and industry partnerships. Certification and diplomas. Technical education can lead to certifications, diplomas, or associate degrees, which are recognized by industries and employers as proof of a person's technical competency. Short duration. Many technical programs are shorter in duration compared to traditional degree courses and focus on providing students with specialized knowledge in a shorter time frame. Examples. Polytechnic colleges offer diploma courses in fields such as mechanical engineering, civil engineering, electronics, and computer science. Vocational training institutes. Institutions like the National Institute of Technology (NITS) and Industrial Training Institutes (ITIS) offer specialized courses in welding, machinist, electrician, and computer applications. Information technology. Technical training programs in areas such as programming, networking, web development, software development, and cybersecurity. 3. Skill-based education. Skill-based education is a form of learning that focuses primarily on equipping individuals with practical skills that are directly applicable in the job market. This form of education is particularly important for sectors such as manufacturing, service, construction, and hospitality, where technical knowledge and hands-on capabilities are more important than theoretical understanding. Characteristics. Hands-on training. Skill-based education emphasizes learning through practical experience rather than theoretical instruction. Students learn by doing, often in real-world settings. Short-term courses. These programs are often shorter than traditional academic degrees, focusing on specific skills like plumbing, carpentry, fashion design, hotel management, tourism, beauty care, and automobile repair. Industry-ready. The focus is on making students workplace-ready by imparting skills that are directly needed in industries. Inclusive and accessible. Skill-based programs often cater to individuals who may not have the time or resources to pursue full-time degrees but still wish to develop relevant career skills. Entrepreneurship. Many skill-based programs also include training in entrepreneurship to help individuals start their own businesses. Examples. National Skill Development Corporation (NSDC) offers various short-term, industry-recognized training programs in sectors like retail, construction, healthcare, electronics, and food processing. Skill India Mission, an initiative by the Government of India to provide skill-based training to youth, focusing on areas like agriculture, textile, IT services, and handicrafts. Hospitality and service industry. Training institutes like the Institute of Hotel Management offer short courses in hotel management, culinary arts, and tourism. Creative arts and design. Institutions offer short-term programs in areas like fashion design, interior design, and graphic design. Comparison between professional, technical, and skill-based education. Aspect professional education, technical education, skill-based education, focus specialized knowledge in a specific field, practical technical skills for industries, hands-on skills for specific jobs, duration typically long, 3 to 5 years, short-term, 1 to 3 years, short-term, weeks to months, mode of learning, classroom-based with practical exposure, classroom-based with hands-on training, primarily hands-on with real-world tasks, level of education, degree or certification, e.g., LLB, MBBS, diploma or certification, e.g. ITI, Polytechnic certification or diploma, e.g., NSDC programs, career path lawyers, doctors, engineers, managers, technicians, mechanics, IT professionals, tradesmen, service providers, technicians. Importance of professional, technical, and skill-based education in India. Economic growth. By equipping individuals with the knowledge and skills required in specific industries, these education systems contribute significantly to the economic development of India, especially as the nation becomes a global leader in technology and manufacturing. Employment opportunities. There is a growing demand for skilled professionals and technicians in India's expanding economy. The Make in India initiative, for example, encourages manufacturing, which increases the need for skilled labor. Addressing skill gaps. Many industries in India face a shortage of adequately trained professionals and technicians. Skill-based education addresses these gaps, particularly in sectors such as healthcare, construction, hospitality, and automobile repair. Support for entrepreneurship. Skill-based education empowers individuals to start their own businesses, contributing to job creation and innovation. It also encourages self-reliance among marginalized sections of society. Social mobility. Professional and technical education can enable social mobility by providing access to quality education and employment opportunities, particularly for disadvantaged groups. Previous year questions. Question. Which of the following is a key feature of technical education in India? A. Focus on theory and research. B. Practical, hands-on training. C. Long duration programs only. D. Both A and C. Answer. B. Practical, hands-on training year, 2019. Question. Which organization in India is responsible for promoting skill-based education? A. University Grants Commission, UGC. B. National Skill Development Corporation, NSDC. C. National Board of Accreditation, NBA. D. All India Council for Technical Education, AICTE. Answer. B. National Skill Development Corporation, NSDC. Year, 2020. Question. What is the primary objective of professional education in India? A. To provide generalized knowledge. B. To provide knowledge and skills for specific professions. C. To provide vocational skills for entrepreneurship. D. To provide administrative skills. Answer. B. To provide knowledge and skills for specific professions. Year, 2021. You said. Value education and environmental education. ChatGPT said. Value education and environmental education. In the context of contemporary education, value education and environmental education are two essential components aimed at fostering holistic development in individuals. They both serve as instruments for creating awareness, instilling responsibility, and encouraging sustainable practices that contribute to individual growth and societal welfare. While they cover different aspects, both of these educational fields share the broader goal of promoting ethical behavior, social responsibility, and a balanced relationship between humans and the environment. 1. Value education. Value education refers to the teaching and learning of values and ethics, which are crucial for the development of a well-rounded and responsible citizen. The main objective of value education is to cultivate moral values, social responsibility, and ethical behavior in individuals, thereby helping them to become socially conscious and ethically sound individuals. Key objectives of value education. Moral and ethical development, to guide students in understanding right and wrong, and to develop the ability to make ethical decisions in everyday life. Character building, to foster virtues such as honesty, integrity, respect, compassion, empathy, and tolerance, which are vital for healthy social interactions. Promoting social responsibility, encouraging students to participate in social activities, understand societal challenges, and contribute to resolving these challenges. Cultural awareness, helping individuals appreciate and respect diverse cultural, social, and religious backgrounds, and promoting inclusiveness in society. Personal growth, enhancing self-awareness, self-respect, and personal discipline to help individuals lead fulfilling lives. Scope of value education. Family and social environment. The family, as the first place of learning, plays a significant role in shaping an individual's values. Social environments like schools, colleges, and workplaces further reinforce these values. Is integrated into academic curricula as well as through activities like debates, discussions, volunteer work, and community service. Role of educators. Teachers and mentors are the primary facilitators of value education. They not only impart knowledge but also serve as role models, demonstrating ethical practices through their actions and interactions with students. Examples of value education programs. Moral science classes. Schools often offer classes focused on teaching basic moral values, drawing from stories, historical events, and real-life examples. Community service. Encouraging students to engage in social outreach activities, such as helping underprivileged groups, spreading awareness about social causes, and participating in charity work. Life skills education, programs aimed at enhancing personal development skills, such as communication, conflict resolution, decision-making, and emotional intelligence. 2. Environmental education. Environmental education (EE) focuses on the awareness, knowledge, attitudes, and skills required to understand and address environmental issues. The goal of EE is to promote environmental awareness, foster positive attitudes towards nature, and encourage actions that protect and sustain the environment. It emphasizes the importance of understanding human impact on natural systems and motivates individuals to engage in sustainable practices. Key objectives of environmental education. Raising environmental awareness, to inform individuals about environmental issues such as climate change, deforestation, pollution, and biodiversity loss, as well as the importance of sustainable practices. Promoting sustainable development, teaching individuals how to meet their present needs without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. This includes sustainable resource management, energy conservation, and waste reduction. Encouraging environmental stewardship, fostering a sense of responsibility towards nature and encouraging practices such as recycling, energy conservation, and sustainable consumption. Promoting critical thinking and problem solving, encouraging individuals to critically analyze environmental issues, understand their underlying causes, and contribute to finding innovative solutions. Developing ecological literacy, educating individuals on the basic principles of ecology, the functioning of ecosystems, and the interdependence of humans and the environment. Scope of environmental education. School curriculum. EE is integrated into school curricula across various subjects such as science, geography, and social studies, with a focus on fostering environmental awareness and problem-solving skills. Field-based learning. Students are encouraged to engage in outdoor activities such as nature walks, wildlife observation, and environmental surveys to learn directly about the environment. Community participation. Promoting involvement in community-level environmental programs, such as cleanup drives, tree plantation, water conservation, and environmental awareness campaigns. Global environmental movements. Involving students in global movements like Earth Day, World Environment Day, and Climate Change Awareness Week, which help raise awareness on a larger scale. Examples of environmental education programs. Eco Club activities. Many schools have eco clubs where students participate in environmental conservation activities, such as reducing plastic waste, organizing recycling drives, and promoting eco-friendly practices. Sustainability education. Programs focusing on sustainable living, including how to reduce energy consumption, manage waste, and promote renewable energy sources. Environmental workshops and seminars. Organizing workshops and seminars on topics such as climate change, biodiversity, and sustainable agriculture, where experts discuss practical ways to mitigate environmental degradation. Value education versus environmental education. A comparison. Aspect value education, environmental education. Focus moral and ethical values for personal and social development, environmental awareness and sustainability, objective development of ethical behavior, social responsibility, and character promotion of environmental awareness, sustainable practices, and ecological conservation. Scope covers aspects of personal, social, and cultural development, focuses on environmental issues and their solutions, approach primarily theoretical and philosophical with practical applications, knowledge-based with a focus on hands-on activities and real-world problems. Examples: social responsibility, empathy, integrity, respect, recycling, conservation, sustainable resource use, pollution control. Importance of integrating value education and environmental education. The integration of value education and environmental education can be a powerful tool in shaping responsible, ethical, and environmentally conscious citizens. These two educational areas complement each other by fostering responsible citizenship. While value education encourages individuals to act ethically and with respect for others, environmental education teaches the importance of respecting and caring for the planet. Promoting sustainable practices. A value system rooted in ethics and responsibility can motivate individuals to adopt sustainable environmental practices, ensuring that future generations inherit a healthier planet. Holistic development. Both types of education contribute to the overall development of an individual, caring not only for themselves and their communities but also for the world around them. Previous year questions. Question: which of the following is the primary objective of environmental education? A. Teaching environmental laws. B. Promoting environmental awareness and sustainability. C. Encouraging scientific research on the environment. D. Teaching technical skills for environmental conservation. Answer: B. Promoting environmental awareness and sustainability. Year 2019. Question: value education primarily aims to develop which of the following? A. Academic excellence. B. Moral values and social responsibility. C. Scientific knowledge. D. Technical skills for career development. Answer: B. Moral values and social responsibility. Year 2020. Question: what is one of the core goals of integrating value education and environmental education? A. To increase economic development. B. To develop awareness about sustainable development and personal ethics. C. To improve technical knowledge in environmental science. D. To develop specific career skills in environmental conservation. Answer: B. To develop awareness about sustainable development and personal ethics. Year 2021. Question: which is an example of value education in schools? A. Environmental awareness programs. B. Community service and social outreach. C. Scientific research methods. D. Technical workshops on engineering. Answer: B. Community service and social outreach. Year 2022. Question: which of the following is a key feature of environmental education? A. Focus on theoretical concepts only. B. Encouraging participation in environmental conservation activities. C. Promoting individual economic growth. D. Teaching abstract environmental issues. Answer: B. Encouraging participation in environmental conservation activities. Year 2020. You said. Policies, governance, and administration. Note: I 5 questions each carrying 2 marks. Or ChatGPT said. Policies, governance, and administration. Policies, governance, and administration are crucial components in shaping the functioning of a country, its developmental progress, and its ability to address social, economic, and environmental challenges. In India, effective governance and policy making are key to addressing various issues, such as economic inequality, poverty alleviation, environmental sustainability, and social justice. This area of study includes government structures, public administration systems, and the formulation and implementation of policies to achieve national goals. 1. Policy making in India. Policy making refers to the process through which a government defines its approach to specific issues and allocates resources to achieve certain goals. Policies guide decision making and are an essential tool for implementing government objectives. In India, the policy making process involves multiple stakeholders, including government officials, experts, civil society, and international organizations. Key aspects of policy making. Policy formulation involves the identification of issues, setting objectives, and choosing the appropriate actions. This process usually starts with a proposal or draft bill, followed by consultations and revisions before a final policy is adopted. Policy implementation. After policies are formulated, they need to be effectively implemented through various government programs, schemes, and administrative mechanisms. Public participation. Citizens and civil society organizations play a critical role in shaping policies, either directly through public consultations or indirectly by raising awareness and advocating for certain issues. Examples of key policies in India. National Policy on Education 1986 focuses on improving the quality of education in India and addressing disparities in access. National Policy on Environment 2006 outlines India's commitment to environmental protection and sustainable development. Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana (PMAY) aims to provide affordable housing to all by 2022. 2. Governance in India. Governance refers to the processes, structures, and systems through which power and authority are exercised in a country. It includes decision-making, resource allocation, enforcement of laws, and the functioning of public institutions. Good governance is essential for ensuring transparency, accountability, participation, and responsiveness in government actions. Key components of governance. Political governance refers to the role of elected representatives, political parties, and the executive in shaping policy and legislative processes. Administrative governance involves the civil services, bureaucrats, and various public institutions responsible for implementing policies and ensuring public welfare. Judicial governance. The judiciary plays an essential role in interpreting laws, protecting fundamental rights, and ensuring justice in the governance system. Decentralization refers to the transfer of power and responsibilities from central government to local governments, enabling regional and local governance systems to address the needs of their communities. Challenges in governance. Corruption. Corruption in governance impedes the effective implementation of policies and reduces public trust in government institutions. Inefficiency in administration. Bureaucratic delays and lack of coordination can hinder the delivery of essential services. Lack of transparency. Decision-making processes that are not transparent undermine accountability and public confidence in the governance system. 3. Public administration in India. Public administration involves the management and execution of government policies and the provision of public services. It includes various governmental and non-governmental agencies, each with its specific functions and responsibilities. In India, the public administration system is a hierarchical structure that operates under the framework of the Indian Constitution. Key features of public administration. Bureaucratic structure. The Indian administrative system is largely based on a bureaucratic model, with civil servants responsible for policy implementation and day-to-day administration. Central and state administration. The government operates at two levels: central, national, and state regional. The central government has jurisdiction over national policies, while states handle matters specific to the regions. Public sector enterprises. Public administration also includes the functioning of public sector enterprises, which are government-owned corporations engaged in economic activities. Key issues in public administration. Capacity building, ensuring that civil servants have the necessary skills and resources to implement government policies effectively. E-governance, the integration of information technology into public administration for improving efficiency, transparency, and citizen engagement. Accountability mechanisms, strengthening oversight mechanisms to ensure that public servants perform their duties with integrity and accountability. 4. The role of institutions in governance. Various institutions play a significant role in the governance process, both at the national and local levels. These institutions help shape policies, ensure implementation, and act as watchdogs over government actions. Key institutions in Indian governance. The Parliament, the primary legislative body responsible for making laws, approving policies, and holding the executive accountable. The executive, comprising the president, the prime minister, and the council of ministers. The executive branch is responsible for implementing laws and policies. The judiciary interprets the law, protects rights, and ensures that government actions are in accordance with the Constitution. The Election Commission, an independent body that oversees the conduct of free and fair elections in India. Central and state public service commissions, responsible for recruiting civil servants who will administer government policies. Institutional challenges. Overlapping roles. Sometimes, the roles of institutions overlap, creating confusion and inefficiencies in policy implementation. Political interference. Institutions like the judiciary and election commission can sometimes face undue political interference, which undermines their independence. Resource constraints. Many institutions, especially at the local level, often face resource and capacity constraints that limit their effectiveness. 5. Ethical governance and corruption prevention. Ethical governance is vital to ensure that government actions are fair, transparent, and accountable. The fight against corruption is an essential part of ethical governance. Corruption not only hampers development but also erodes public trust in government institutions. Key aspects of ethical governance. Transparency, ensuring that government actions are open to public scrutiny and that decisions are made in an open and accountable manner. Accountability, public officials must be answerable for their actions, and there must be mechanisms to hold them responsible for misconduct or failures. Integrity, public officials must demonstrate ethical conduct and avoid situations where personal interests conflict with public duties. Anti-corruption measures, implementing policies to prevent corruption and ensuring that there are strong legal and institutional frameworks for investigating and punishing corrupt activities. Anti-corruption institutions. Central Vigilance Commission (CVC), an apex body for monitoring corruption in the Indian public sector. Lokpal and Lokayukta, institutions for addressing complaints related to corruption in both central and state governments. Previous year questions with answers. Question: which of the following is the primary function of the Election Commission of India? A. Making laws. B. Conducting elections and ensuring their fairness. C. Drafting government policies. D. Enforcing environmental laws. Answer: B. Conducting elections and ensuring their fairness. Year 2020. Question: what is the main objective of the National Policy on Education 1986? A. To regulate the fees of private educational institutions. B. To improve the quality of education and ensure access to all. C. To establish more universities. D. To privatize the education sector. Answer: B. To improve the quality of education and ensure access to all. Year 2019. Question: which of the following is a major challenge in public administration in India? A. Effective decentralization. B. Over-bureaucratization and inefficiency. C. Lack of public sector enterprises. D. Implementation of the Right to Information Act. Answer: B. Over-bureaucratization and inefficiency. Year 2021. Question: what is the role of the Central Vigilance Commission (CVC)? A. To oversee election procedures. B. To regulate public sector enterprises. C. To monitor and address corruption in government sectors. D. To implement economic policies. Answer: C. To monitor and address corruption in government sectors. Year 2022. Question: what does the principle of accountability in governance emphasize? A. Elected representatives should avoid transparency. B. Public officials must be answerable for their actions. C. Citizens should not question government policies. D. Political leaders should have unrestricted power. Answer: B. Public officials must be answerable for their actions. Year 2020. Search. Reason.